This guy says Trump is already ending wars. Which wars have ended? Is the war in Gaza over? Is the war in Ukraine over? No. No, he's not ending wars. He is going to give Netanyahu everything he needs to just eradicate anybody that's left in Gaza because he wants that beachfront property, as he's indicated, as his son-in-law has indicated. And as far as Ukraine goes, the transition team for Trump, at least one member of the campaign that I can't remember if they're part of the transition team or not, has already come out and said that they're going to be negotiating an end to the war in Ukraine, and they're not interested in any negotiations that result in Russia having to give back any land that they've taken. In other words, for the incoming Trump administration, the negotiations to end the war in Ukraine begin with Russia gets to keep every bit of land that they've already taken and go into how much more land does Russia get to get and does Ukraine need to cede to Russia in order for this war to come to an end. Now, do you think that that is going to cause the Ukrainians to stop fighting? Because if you do, you're nuts. We're not the only people that have been given Ukraine military assistance. The British have, the French have, other nations have. They're still getting weaponry and money from other nations to continue fighting this battle. There is no way in hell Zelensky is going to agree to a negotiation to stop this war by saying, okay, everything Russia's already taken, you guys get to keep. Now let's start negotiating. Zelensky's going to keep fighting, and other nations are going to keep supporting him. Hell, it'll be interesting to see what our own Congress does, because keep in mind, those measures to help Ukraine were passed with wide bipartisan support. A lot of Republicans, including the majorities, the leadership of the Republicans in the chambers, have been in favor of continuing to help Ukraine so that we don't get into a ground war with Russia after they invade a NATO nation down the road. So what's going to happen when the rubber hits the road? Ukraine is still fighting. They're not giving up. And Congress needs to make a decision. And Congress may very well vote to continue to give them aid. Is Trump going to sign that? And by the way, that war in Ukraine, Trump said he'd have it over in 24 hours after being elected president. I mean, listen, we'll give him up until the inauguration, because he said at a minimum before the inauguration, but he's already defaulted on his first promise. It's been almost a week and he hasn't ended the war in Ukraine like he promised. And he has spoken to both Putin and Zelensky. It's not like he's not in communication with them. Not even a full week removed from the election and he's already broken his first promise. One that he will not get to uphold. He will not get to end the war in Ukraine and with Ukraine and Russia, I should say. Not if Ukraine keeps fighting. If Ukraine says, all right, we'll agree to those terms, then obviously the war will come to an end. I don't see Zelensky just going, okay, you guys get to keep that land. When he's got assistance coming from other nations. He's just not going to be able to rely on the White House moving forward. And that's a shame that our allies can't rely on us during the administration of a Republican. It really says a lot.